So with the Ender 3 Pro, I've worked out that you can actually install this without hitting the this bearing up here, this nut here, screw. There's a couple of things that you need to make sure when you put this together. First of all, that when you've got the unit facing like so, you should have the adjuster, the tensioner on the left and the writing on the right hand side, and then you screw your little nozzle piece, because this part here, so these are the bits you're going to need. You're going to need this piece here, which is your little orifice. Comes in your box of gear, so that screws into there eventually. That screws in there. Just give it a little bit of a nip up with the pliers. Doesn't have to be super tight. It's just basically to feed the stuff through. So with that orientated that way, with the writing on the right hand side and the orifice at the top, this motor should be at the wires should be coming out at about 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock, not down the bottom, if you get what I mean. I think this can only go, no, it can go in any one of 4 directions. So I basically set it up so that it's got the wires at 11 o'clock when it's facing the back. So if you're putting it together, because you normally put it together with the motor down, just have the wires coming up at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter. And then when you put it all together, make sure that they're at 11 or 1 and your writing's on the right hand side. So it's actually going to be mounted like this, and it's just going to sit here like this, nice and low. Okay, so you won't have, so some of the components that you won't be using, because it doesn't tell you what you can and can't use, is you won't be needing this on the Ender 3 Pro. I did have it installed with this, with a long Bowden tube, but I've just figured out how to fix that, how to take that piece out and have it nice and short. Okay. So just imagine that you haven't installed your heat brake. Usually when you buy them in pairs anyway. So this will be how you can actually set it up. So what you will need out of the kit is you'll need this little piece here, which is a threaded piece with a nut on it. Just screw the nut about halfway down, like so, because it screws up and down on there. Just screw it up about halfway. Okay. Now that screws into this body here. Okay. But this heat brake pushes right down, and there's a seat at the bottom of here. It just pushes right down, just snug it up, so it's butted up to the seat. And then this is to adjust your correct length of Bowden tube, so you don't have any gap in the line. So I'm just going to just tighten this up, just so that it can't move. Just don't wrench on it. Just do it so it can't come out, so it can't fall out. And that's sitting up just underneath the base. It's hard to see. That's just sitting up. It's hard up into the casing, the threaded casing on the other side of that thread there. So now screw this piece in, and it doesn't matter which way it goes, because it looks like there's a bit of chamfer on this side. Maybe, yeah, there is a little bit. So put that to the top. So there's a bit of a lead-in chamfer there. So screw this screw back. So it's got about, I don't know, 1 millimeter or 1 or 2 millimeters of protruding metal. And we're just going to screw that down. We're not going to tighten it up just now. And then you get this other piece here. And that screws into the bottom of this unit. Alright, so screw that in. And then just nip that up. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers for this because you don't have to wrench on it, so I'm just going to use my pliers. It's only an aluminium casing, so don't get too carried away with it, otherwise you'll strip the thread out of here. And make sure your gears still turn. I haven't got any tension on these tensioner springs yet. Excuse me. Blooming cold. One thing too, just be careful of when you're putting this together, is not really specific on how to adjust the backlash on these gears, and there's no slotting that lines these housings up perfectly to get the backlash. So if you don't get any backlash, you'll have a really noisy gearbox. And I've basically, what I did was loosened off these 3 screws, that one there, that one there, that one there. And then because you can move this top casing quite a bit, it moves around a lot. So just basically adjust it around until you get a bit of free play, and then hold it, and then nip one up, check your free play, and then do the other 2 up and check them again. Excuse me. Okay, so that's done up, that's nipped up. So now what we want to do is, before we are going to just adjust this first, and then so this isn't done up yet, this little lock nut here. So what we're going to do is we're going to, because this here has to end up with this housing out like this, and this housing facing this way with the screw at the bottom to nip this up. It's got to be facing out towards us. Okay, so basically screw this in like so. Okay, so that's the wrong way. So I'm going to just do this about half a turn. And when it comes so I'm just screwing this nut down so that I can adjust. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? So oh, it's locked it. Just need to tweak this. Just loosen this off a fraction. And the whole goal here is to just adjust the orientation of this here. I'll just nip it up a fraction. So that when it's all tightened, see how it's sitting off center, so it wants to be sitting parallel with the housing like that. So that's sitting about right now, but it hasn't bottomed out on the thing yet, so I need to just adjust this down. Just keep playing with this adjustment until it lines up. It's a pain to set up because it keeps locking this little nut up, and it's very difficult to get in there once you actually got it in. It's close but not quite, so it needs to, it's quite fiddly to set this little piece up actually. I'll see if I can actually screw this back out again a little bit. It's a bit of a fiddly job. Screw it right out. Okay, it goes inside and like so. Okay, now I'll screw this in. Okay, so that needs to be undone a fraction. It's a pain to adjust, that's for sure. But once you get it adjusted, yeah, that's close. I'll get it tightened up. Okay, that's done. That's parallel now with the back face. Excuse me. So now that that's done and adjusted and locked up, we can now undo, put your little screwdriver through here and pop this, undo it like that, and then one hit it all the way out. And now, because this here is seated in place, all we need to do is get your Bowden tube, a piece of your Capricorn tube, sorry, and this will push right down and it'll sit on top. I've got this one here sitting here, and the one that's in the heater block, but it's the same dimensions and everything. So it'll sit right inside that tube there like that, and it's going to be all the way up to where, because this piece here screws hard into this orifice, so there's a little orifice there. This screws hard into that and locks in, so there's no gap there. And then this tube here goes down. Actually, I'll just need to see if it actually goes all the way. Yeah, it just butts all the way up. So I don't know whether this here is deeper than this. Nah, it's not. There's actually no gap there. So this here just slides down into the hole, and just hold your finger pressure on. Oh, and just be careful if you don't get it right, because there's a little. You'll feel that it comes, and then if you turn it, it drops down. So when you pull it out, it's sitting on the lip, and then you turn it, and it drops down another 10 mil. And what that is doing is it's hitting on the top of here, just there, and then you turn it, and it drops down into the hole like that. So you've got to make sure that it's seated properly down into that, and make sure you've got that butted up and nipped up like I showed before. So get it so that it's there, and then push it in, and you'll feel it snap in. And then get your cutter and you'll have to cut that off. I need to do this on a flat surface. Oh, I'll do it here. Don't cut your pot your thing. Excuse me, I'll do it here. Get this out of the way. Chuck it on the floor. And just make sure it doesn't pop back out while you're relocating it to a better cutting location. So I'm just going to hold that firm, hold the pressure on, just sit that on the end of my thing, pull the knife up and just cut through like so. Come on, come out of here. Okay, so that's that little piece there. It's sitting right in there. It's buttered right in. So I don't know if we can get it out again, but probably not. No, I'll leave it in there. So that's, so you know that that's sitting all the way. So there's no way you can get like a piece of TPU or filament jammed. Okay. So now this here goes back into our system. That screws to the front, like so. And that's, I'm just going to do this up by hand because you don't really, if you've got strong hands, you don't really need to put too much pressure on because it's not going to come undone anytime quick. So we know that that's right. Now we can just remove our heat break. If you've only got one, you can just put it back. So that's, and the tube is in there. And then we use our other one. Now remember, this here goes in the front. So this here slides into position. And that butts up like so. But we'll fit that later. We'll fit that in the tube later, just in a second. So now I'm just going to, oh, actually no, we do need to install it now. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure it all out as we go. Yep. Okay, so now we need to put our little tapered screws in. There's one there. Little tapered screw there. They're 1.5, I think they are. Nope, they're a bit bigger than that. I think it's the 2.5. It's a 2 mil. So this here just screws into place. These here shouldn't be done too tight because it's really just to lock the unit in. It doesn't, you don't actually have, so I'm just doing these hand tight, excuse me, evenly, so that you don't kind of cock over the assembly. So I've just done them up evenly, and I'm just basically putting hand pressure to lock them in. Now that they're locked in, I can actually lock this screw up here. And that just needs to be nipped up, not super tight, just nipped up. Okay. So now we just need to tighten up the hot end, and I'll just hold that in my hand like that. Oh, I haven't even got a screw. The tool's big enough, small enough for it. It's, I don't know where that's gone. Oh, there it is. There it is. Sorry, here it is, it's tucked away under here. So yeah, the end has come with a little set of tools. So that's just this one here, this little 6mm. So just back it off and tighten it up. You don't have to go super tight. So I just basically backed it off a fraction and then nip it up. Okay. So that's that. Now we just need to screw our screws back in. Okay, so this one here, and these are the 1.5s again. I think they are, aren't they? No, they're the 2mm. So these are the 2mm ones, this one here. Yep. Okay. So now I've just got to put these screws in, so I'll just get this one started because it's just got to go here. Like so. Get that into place just loosely, don't let it go. Got to be careful of all these wires that they don't twist up, and especially those thermistor ones. They're so this one here just goes into place here. Just get it started. Better show you what I'm doing. So just get these kind of sitting in roughly into place. Okay, and then just nip this up. Well, you've got to actually tighten it up, but you don't want to go too loose with any of these because they're not. Yeah, so you don't want to go really tight with these. So that's it. That's the whole. We've just got to put the fan on now. Oh no, we've got to put the boot on. Silicon boot. It slides in like so from the back, and just make sure it's all sitting in there. Now we've just got to get these two screws in. Once I find the screwdriver for it. Excuse me, must have fallen off. Oh, here we go. Okay, so just the two little fan screws to go. Just get that bottom one started and just get it done up, and then back it off half a turn. Back it off half a turn, 3/4 of a turn. Then we've just got to put the last one in. And it just goes up underneath the and just under here. It just slots in there nicely. Need to turn that around a little bit. Just make sure that it's not binding on anything. One thing you ought to be careful of is the you don't want any of these gears chewing up the cable work. Okay, so that's done. All we need to do now is tension up the adjusters on the gear spools. So they are, I think that's this one here. 2.5 mil, 3 mil. So they're just on this side here. So you just got to screw them in so that they're flush with the bottom of the housing. No, it's the big one. Screw that in like so. Just get them both tensioned the same. You'll be able to feel by hand, yeah, there it is. Like you'll be able to feel with your fingertip whether it's proud or sunk in. So you basically screw it back out half a turn and you'll be able to feel the lip coming out against your finger, and then just screw it in until it's flush. And they stay in there. Yeah, like that. Okay, so that's let's just have a bit of a look around. It's all looking nice in there. It's just not quite sitting square, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a tweak to get it lined up, because it's just a fraction out, like about 2 degrees. Just going to turn this here, just like that, and that's it, it's all lined up. So now all we've got to do is jump in and set your E-steps to 690, which we'll just do now. So it's a nice little compact unit once you actually figure out how it all goes back together. You know, because the instructions aren't very clear, but that to me looks nice and tidy. You know, it's nice and low profile, looks good. Then you just basically put your feeder to it, because I've got this set up the top for the roller, and then it just goes straight in the top. So with here, all we need to do is go into the configuration, advanced settings, and then steps, go down to E-steps and turn that all the way up to 690, and then once that's done, go back one step and then go to then you got to do your bed leveling, and then you can save your settings. So you've just got to go into configuration to save settings. It's down the bottom here. Load, store, restore. So you'd go to store settings once you've got all your tramming and bed leveling done. So anyway, I hope that gives you a bit more information than is available. And that's a double, so that's your heat brake and a dual gear direct drive. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Westy over and out. They're a really good machine, but just remember the 2 orientations I talked about earlier on the video. Cheers. Westy over and out.